Wind Archer Cookie has just been released and he is very good. So let's take a look at his skill, take a look at how to build him, and take a look at how useful he is for PvE and PvP. So now looking at his skill, the Last Wind, we can see upon transforming, Wind Archer Cookie shoots his arrow of gale, pushing back and sliding enemies, and applies the trace of the wind and pursuer debuffs. While transformed, he will become immune to debuffs except for curse and will shoot his pursuer's arrows for his regular attacks. The pursuer's arrows attack up to 5 enemies with the highest attack and apply the trace of the wind and the pursuer debuff to his targets. Once pursuer reaches max stacks, it will explode and inflict damage proportional to the target's max HP, damage nearby enemies, and apply the trace of the wind debuff. Wind Archer Cookie applies the Mighty Gale buff to himself whenever he shoots the pursuer's arrows. This Guardian Cookie casts Last Wind, which partially ignores the target's damage resist and inflicts additional damage to enemies proportional to the number of Mighty Gale stacks. Affected enemies will be trapped in a cyclone. When entering the battle, Wind Archer Cookie's max HP increases. And as you can see here, plus 30%. The transformation is 11 seconds. And then Tailwind here, we can see that's that boost that he gets. Defense plus 15% and attack plus 10% for 10 seconds with regular attacks. Stacks up to 5 times. Now taking a look down here, we can see the Arrow of Gale, Pursuer's Arrow, and the Last Wind. So Arrow of Gale we have right here, damage 182.5%, wind damage of attack, ignores 40% of the target's damage resistance, stun 2.5 seconds, and then it applies the trace of the wind debuff, which reduces the damage received by the team's wind type cookies on your team and received by other cookies by 12%. So wind type cookies get a minus 30% damage resist buff while the others get minus 12. By that means it forces that damage reduction on the enemy team. Then Mighty Gale damage resist bypass plus 2% and attack plus 1.5% for 8 seconds, stacks up to 15 times. That's the other buff that you get from using the skill, and the more you're able to get those attacks out, the more you get boosted. The more you can use the skill, the more it gets boosted. So Pursuer's Arrow, damage 89.3% of attack plus 9.4% of target's HP. 7 seconds for Pursuer, stacks up to 3x. Damage is 10.5% of max HP cookies, 166.3% of attack for others. The area damage is 219.7, 1 second cooldown. And then the other part of the trace of the wind debuff, damage dealt to wind type cookies, minus 30%. Damage dealt to allies, minus 7%. And then we have right here the Last Wind, damage of 912.4% of attack plus 50.3% of extra damage per stack of Mighty Gale, ignores 40% of target's damage resist. So really the cyclone duration is 2.5 seconds. So really what you want to do is similar to Creme Brulee and his Ascendo buff, you really want to be able to get this guy as much Mighty Gale stacks as you can. And as you can see here, Wind Archer Cookie applies the Mighty Gale buff to himself whenever he shoots the Pursuer's arrows. And he shoots the Pursuer's arrows instead of his regular attacks when he is transformed. So you want him to get as many of those Pursuer arrows out while he is transformed, and you can do that by boosting his attack speed. When building Wind Archer Cookie, I would definitely go attack speed, cooldown, and damage resist, because attack speed gets him more of the buffs, cooldown lets him use his skill more, and damage resist keeps him alive, because he is supposed to be in the way back. You know, you do not need him to be able to tank damage, especially because you have Financier and others guarding him. If Financier loses, he's dead. So this is the team I'm going to use for the PvE fight. This is on dark mode against Dark Cacao's Angry Spirit. Let's take a look at how he does. So he uses his skill. He got Tailwind buff there from using his regular arrow. Now let's go ahead and use the skill. And those are the Pursuer arrows. As you can see, he was getting that Mighty Gale buff and applying the trace of the wind debuff. Now that's directly increased by increasing the attack speed. And then here we go, we got one big arrow. That's that one final shot, the one that ignores damage resist that he does. What is it called? The Last Wind. Yeah, the Last Wind. Now let's just see how he does with his regular attack. Let's see if he can deal any damage to the Dark Spirit. He's actually doing pretty solid. This injury is stacking on him, but aside from that, he could probably take this guy out just by going down this route. But let's go ahead and use his skill and see how much damage it does. Oh my, yeah, it is just like Creme Brulee. It is just like Creme Brulee. This guy's gonna be a boss shredder. So that takes care of PvE. Honestly, probably one of the best cookies for PvE now, just because he can be a damage dealer to bosses by himself. So for PvP, I've actually managed to get pretty high ranked. I'm up to 75 currently, and that's because I've largely been using this team. So I will say Wind Archer cookie is good. He is the meta for PvP right now, but I just wanted to kind of go quickly over the team and then show you guys the fight. I will be releasing another video here shortly where I'll be going over multiple arena teams that have helped me climb to the top 50 and the top 100, and then from there I'll also be going over the specifics of them. But for this one, I'm just gonna be going the basics. You got Dark Cacao Awaken, Financier, Mystic Flower, then we got Cream Ferret, and we got Wind Archer. For the treasures, we have the Jelly Watch, the Vial, and the Shining Feather. Now let's go ahead and see what we can do with this team. So I'm not sure too. This seems to be a Financier and Moonlight or Dark Cacao Moonlight comp. So let's go ahead and see what the result is from this one. Yep, no Financier on this team. Interesting. This is a lot of offense. Usually Financier is a needed staple. Financier is instrumental in keeping Wind Archer alive. Wind Archer almost every time will not die before Financier. So the second Financier drops, it's probably over. So tough loss. So looking at the results of the fight, even though we lost, we can see how effective Wind Archer is. He had 15.6 million damage. It's unreal. I had a fight that went until the 30-20 second mark. Wind Archer had 35 million damage. I couldn't believe it. So that's it, guys. You know, with Wind Archer cookie, I know I said that I'd rate him on the legendary scale because I just released that top legendary video. And honestly, I'd say he's probably the second best legendary. I still can't bring him past Stormbringer, because if I could do 1A and 1B, Stormbringer would be 1A and he would be 1B. The reason why I still keep Stormbringer up there is because Stormbringer brought us something very unique. That is like an unstoppable damage dealing tank. While Wind Archer cookie is extremely powerful, we already had somebody who was a little bit like him, but worse, in Creme Brulee. So he's not exactly breaking anything, but he is extremely good. Extremely good. So I definitely put him ahead of Frost Queen and Moonlight, but I put him just behind Stormbringer. But with that, guys, thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and comment below what else you guys want to see in the future. But make sure to check out these other videos that you might like as well from my channel.